today we're going to build you the perfect morning routine. Take out the gym, take out the diet, take out everything for a second. Master this. This is your foundations.
Is there any evidence to support having a good morning routine?
One of the biggest reasons that it is actually recommended by a lot of health professionals is,
and that's not necessarily what's good for you. We wire our dopamine,
and that's something nobody wants to hear.
That is the biggest one. Another great practice to have is really going to improve your mood. It's really going to wake you up.
Other than take away from this podcast that having a morning routine is the best thing you can do for yourself, take away that you should start the day with.
Every episode I buffer.
Oh my god, yeah.
It takes its time.
Wi-Fi loading.
Internet down.
Please reconnect.
Warning. Do not enter this game if you are under 18.
I don't know what you've been watching.
We are back with another podcast.
And today we're going to build you the perfect morning routine. I think a good place to start is to work out if there actually is any point in having a morning routine, and if so, why?
Yeah. I mean, it's very important, I think, to have a morning routine. It has both physical and psychological benefits, and how you start your day will determine how you go on throughout. So it is really important to have a good morning routine, because then you're giving yourself the best possible chance of having the best possible day that you can.
Definitely, I agree. I think it's something that not enough people actually factor into their daily lives or into just their lifestyle. People talk about wanting to be healthier and wanting to be more productive or be a better version of themselves. I think this is probably the actual best place to start. Take out the gym, take out the diet, take out everything for a second. Master this. This is your foundations. If you can perfect the foundations, you can build everything else on top.
So given everything you've just said, is there any evidence to support having a good morning routine?
I don't think it is just a matter of opinion whether having a morning routine is good or not. We have actually spent some time doing some research for you guys just to support how important this really is. One of the biggest reasons that it is actually recommended by a lot of health professionals to create a morning routine is because it reduces your cortisol levels. So cortisol is one of our biggest stress hormones that is really responsible for your fight or flight response and just the amount of stress you feel in your daily life. So creating this routine actually reduces those levels in the morning, so the hormone isn't secreted as much, which in turn is actually better for your health, because having high stress levels increases your chance of heart disease, a lot of cardiovascular diseases, high blood pressure, as well as a lot of emotional disruptions too. Things like anxiety and things like depression are both very common as well when you have high stress levels. This is one of the best ways to eliminate stress.
You're definitely right in that it reduces stress levels if you've got a really positive, productive morning routine set out for you. And I think a big way that it reduces stress as well is that it really removes the need to feel rushed to get everything done. If you've already set the intentions of what you're going to do, and you've set therefore time aside for those tasks. Some of the research we did to support the idea of having a good morning routine led us to understanding more about our circadian rhythms. Our circadian rhythm is our body's natural clock, which are periods of our natural rest and activity throughout the day. Research also found that people with disrupted circadian rhythms were more likely to experience depression, low mood, loneliness, and other problems associated with moods. So as it's our natural body clock, our circadian rhythm is affected by natural influences, for example, the weather and light, what we eat. So how we eat and sleep will really affect our circadian rhythm. And if that's not being given enough attention or it's being poorly executed, then our circadian rhythm will suffer. So your morning routine, in effect, will actually help you master your sleep routine too. So I think the next natural question then is, how can we best structure the perfect morning routine?
So I think there are definitely some things that should be included, like non-negotiable, that are needed. And I think other than waking up at a reasonable time, I know that's very subjective. I think one of the biggest things is starting the day away from your phone. And that's something nobody wants to hear.
That is the biggest one, in my personal opinion.
And that's something I used to do so much. And just being around your phone when you first wake up, it really will affect your mood for the rest of the day.
Completely. Yeah.
And there is actual science behind this. before anybody wants to come at me. So basically, when we sleep, we have different types of brain waves in which our brain goes into. And when we sleep, our brains are in something called a theta wave. Now, when we wake, the idea is that your brain will transition from a theta wave into an alpha wave. Now, your alpha state is the most programmable state that you can possibly be in. And this is really important because it makes you so susceptible to everything around you. It's so easy for you to be consumed by your environment. So if the first thing you go for is your phone, basically the first thing you then see, that is going to basically stay in your mind for the rest of the day.
It looms.
It does. It creeps up. And when you check your phone, it will then transition from this alpha state, the highest state you can be in mentally, to a high stress beta wave, which in itself says high stress, which we've already kind of gone over is really unhealthy for you to have high amounts of stress as it is. You're opening your phone and you're overwhelmed by the amounts of information coming at you. You're getting pings, notifications, left, right and centre.
Especially in the way that social media is structured right now as well. There is just an influx and overload of information, and it's all very quick and transitional. For your brain to take that on as the first thing that you do, that is undoubtedly going to set the tone for the rest of your day.
For real, definitely. And it's going to be really overwhelming for you. And it's going to probably make you a little anxious throughout the whole of your day. And not only that, but being on your phone very early will also mess up your dopamine levels. So dopamine is your almost wanting more hormone. It's a very addictive hormone. This is what wants you constantly, as I said, wanting more. So again, if you start your day and you're getting your release of dopamine through your phone, you're going to constantly be wired to want to check your phone through the rest of the day to get that same feeling.
And the thing with what you're saying as well is that logic kind of becomes removed because it's all about addiction, and that's not necessarily what's good for you.
There's so many other ways you can get your dopamine fix, if you want to call it. You can get your dopamine from meditating or from eating something nice. There's many methods that are not checking your phone.
So in order to rewire our dopamine, we can choose to opt for healthier activities. For example, practicing mindfulness at the very start of your day will set the tone for the rest of that day. It will allow you to be independent in your personal choices of what you know is going to be really positive and meaningful for you to practice in your thoughts. That will lower feelings of anxiety, especially if, for example, you're practicing gratitude. That's a big one that people like to do.
Gratitude is something that everybody should do. Again, this is something, in all seriousness, that I've only started doing probably since January, but it's made me so much just happier because you actually can stop and just actually appreciate the things that you do have for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say it again. I say it all the time. It's all about your perspective. And your perspective will really shape the way you view life and therefore how you go about your day. So starting with that intention from the very moment that you wake up, give yourself 5 minutes to blink, but writing those things down really enforces that idea in your mind, and you'll carry that with you.
What would you recommend other than gratitude?
So other than gratitude, things like meditation are linked similarly in, again, being calm in your own energy. And there's also journaling. So as part of gratitude, journaling is very good to do. You can journal your inner thoughts. That will get them out of your head and onto a page. So that they're not festering in your mind throughout the day. You just leave them there in the book. That's something I practice every day, and I found it's massively improved my mood. Another great practice to have is exercising in the morning. So that releases dopamine, which will reduce your stress levels and boost and improve your mood.
100%. I think, I know not everybody has time in the morning to exercise, but doing something as simple as a 10-minute ab workout, these are the kind of exercises which they might not give you the most effective results, but this is more the intention of just getting your body moving, breaking a sweat, starting your day right. If you can't get to the morning if you don't wake up if you can't get to the gym early in the morning because you're busy or for whatever reason, and you'd rather go in the evening, that's fine, but maybe just spend 10-15 minutes in the morning doing an ab workout or doing some push-ups or going on a little run.
I was going to say, yeah, going for a walk outside is really beneficial first thing in the morning. It just allows you to clear your mind, and as you're saying, just get active.
And even if you feel like, oh, I'm too tired in the mornings to do something, other than it actually increasing your energy levels by exercising, just do some stretching. Some simple stretching, do some yoga. Honestly, just anything that kind of gets your body up and moving, that is probably the most beneficial thing you can do.
Completely. Being in nature, being in the sunlight,
Sure.
is really going to improve your mood. It's really going to wake you up and boost your energy levels, which again will carry through the rest of your day.
For sure. Again, on what you said about going outside, getting some fresh air, getting some sunlight, going back to the whole circadian rhythms that we spoke about, the reason that light is so important and really does affect your body clock is because it will inhibit your sleepy hormones. So a huge sleeping hormone, which you might have heard of, is something called melatonin, and that is responsible for making you feel tired and allowing you to sleep. So when that is disrupted, it will cause you to feel tired at quite distorted times throughout the day.
Exactly that. So if you therefore wake up and are immediately exposed to sunlight, you're naturally reducing the feeling that hormone activates.
Pretty much. And if there is no sunlight, because if you live in England like us and the weather is normally shocking, even just turning on a light, like anything that just...
I have a recommendation.
Go on.
A Lumi lamp. This is something I bought for my boyfriend. It lights up the room as natural sunlight would.
Really?
It also does a sunset as well in the evening. We can link it in the description below. So
My
they're really
birthday
good.
thing. That's quite a smart idea. I think that's something I need, because that's something that I struggle with in winter, is getting up, because it's just so dark. And again, that kind of adds to what we're saying. The reason normally it's harder to get up in winter is because it's so dark outside, and that hormone isn't being told to stop producing.
Another one which in part I loathe to talk about is having cold showers.
Do it.
I will recommend them, and I am trying to do them more, I swear. I'm trying. It's so hard to do, but they're really good for reducing muscle soreness and improving circulation, especially if you've just gone on a morning run or workout. I think the instant feeling of being cooler improves your alertness as well. So that's something that will help you wake up and start the day.
And it's also probably very good as well for your body temperature, regulating it, because obviously if it is after a workout, your body's obviously heating up. So the idea of a cool shower really brings that temperature back down. So if you don't want to have a cold shower, an ice bath, or
have something worse.
whatever. In turn, the best thing you can possibly do and take away from this podcast, I said that weird.
You did.
So,
Sound like a robot at me.
other than take away from this podcast that having a morning routine is the best thing you can do for yourself and is the foundation to anything else in your day, take away that you should start the day with no phone, some sort of activity that gets you moving, whether that's your mind or your body. Anything else?
We didn't even say about eating something in the morning.
That's a later on though. We're talking like
A later on routine.
we're just hot and tired. Get up at a reasonable time and stay off of your phone. Do not check your phone first thing. Get your body moving in some way, whether that is stretching, whether that's having a cold shower, whether that's going on a run, doing some exercise. And make your mind awake. Waken your mind with your body, whether that means doing some mindfulness, do some journaling, do some gratitude, to start your day as well as you can.
Thank you very much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and have taken what you can from it.
As always, we really appreciate all the love and support that you guys have been giving us. It does not go unnoticed.
You have been listening to Gains and Gossip.